and he should have helped. He was a federal employee of the United States, and what Alvaro did is he walked out on a situation when he knew what the proper and normal thing to do would have been to go to a hotel. He chose not to do that. He chose to shave his pubic hair and get it on with someone, and then wait for me to beg him back for some reason. He was all hands off. He knew my son was being tortured. He knew that I was being tortured. He just wanted to be available for Washington, D.C. for a little revolution. Remember that revolution, that Arab Springs revolution? Spring is a great time to get married too, isn't it? The United States didn't care. They continued to torture me, and they tortured my son while they accused other people in Middle Eastern countries of torturing their citizens. The United States was hypocritically doing the exact same thing over here. I didn't really hear from Shannon Borg after that. Basically, she wanted to punish me, and her partner wanted to punish me just as much as the other officers who were trying to still force me to be with Alvaro. I tried to get an apartment, and they were telling me that I needed to be with my fiancé. They weren't telling me that I needed to be with him as in like, it's your credit report isn't turning out okay. They weren't saying that. I was being told, if you're getting married or if you have a husband, or, I mean, I was being basically pressured right there on the spot into marrying him if I wanted a place to live. So they didn't want me to be working and making $300 on my own. They wanted Alvaro to be controlling me. And if he wasn't controlling me, then they wanted to make sure that I was homeless and I'm tortured and I wasn't ever going to get my son back. I mean, not that I would have gotten him back anyway, because as you know, Alvaro was demonstrating earlier, he just didn't seem to have a problem with setting people up either. From that point on, from the point that I was falsely arrested for grand auto theft, when the police knew that I hadn't committed grand auto theft, and it was just an excuse to keep me out of work and from having any money, I was forced into homelessness. I mean, I was never able to get out of that trap. The only option that I had of financially getting out of that trap would have been to call up Alvaro Pardo. And I refused to do that because so many people were trying to push me into doing that. You know, forcing me into jail on false charges, punishing me, obstructing my work, that just made me not want to be with him, because I saw what kinds of people he was working with. That's the kind of person and group that worked with him. and supported him, I wanted no part of it. And I have a right as a woman, as an adult woman, to make my own way and to have work. I never had anyone try to obstruct my travel, falsely arrest me, and try to keep me out of work like that before. I mean, basically, all of those things happened after I reported the FBI employees in Portland, Oregon. I was never being blocked from traveling, having my cars stolen from me, you know, under false pretenses of an illegal suspension. I didn't have judges working hard to keep me out of a lawsuit against them. I didn't have FBI colluding with local police officers to repeatedly put me in jail. I mean, it wasn't like they put me in jail because it was for my own safety. They put me in jail to keep me unsafe. I would have been safe if I had been working and making a few hundred in tips every night and paying for my own things. I would have had financial security. They didn't want me to be financially secure. They wanted me to be financially insecure and completely dependent or on the streets, looking like a homeless person. It was basically either I get married to Alvaro Pardo, or I'm going to look like the most despicable homeless person that anybody has ever seen. Because if I don't marry Alvaro, I'm not marrying anybody. I'm not going to be with anybody. I'm not going to have my son. I'm going to look like a total social disgrace. And I'm going to be tortured too. That's exactly what they did to me. And Alvaro is guilty for knowing all of these things were happening to me and my son and doing nothing. Most likely, I wouldn't doubt it if he thought it was funny. My belongings were then left because I was forced into homelessness at that point and had to go to women's shelters, and then had just a random fiasco of events occur there. Basically, my things were being held for me indefinitely. They said I could pick things up at any time when I was in a better situation. So they didn't tell me that they wanted to mail all my things to me until I was in Nashville, Tennessee. And at the point that they said they wanted to mail my things to me in Nashville, Tennessee, Kate Middleton had already gotten engaged. And I really didn't think that this had anything to do with Kate Middleton until I started looking at some of the timing of various things. All of a sudden, after she was engaged and I was in Tennessee, then Shannon Borg sends me an email telling me, we can send all of your stuff to you in Tennessee. I was staying at a women's shelter in Tennessee. And this is immediately prior to my being thrown into a mental health ward, falsely again, because of Middleton or Nashville. It's called Middleton County because of Nashville, Tennessee, FBI, and military. They basically wanted to continue punishing me. And Shannon Borg was trying to have all of these very important documents and my clothing and everything. She was trying to have all of that shipped to me immediately prior to the time that they wanted to have me admitted. Basically, the FBI was telling me to go to the, emergency room and get quote-unquote checked out, and then they would talk to me. They wanted me to go in for my knee and for any bleeding or whatever. Just have them do a quick CBC and make sure everything's okay is what they told me. And then we'll take your report seriously. So right after the FBI tells me that's what I need to do next, and they know that probably that's what I'll do because I have a whole bunch of things going on and I'm having problems, like death threats and